I found the doorman, Joey Two Hands, dead. What? Joey Two Hands was killed in my club, in my territory? Whoa, it's a rain! It's a rain! They can't know we have like either, right? I found the clue! I want her taken away on account of attempted murder! Wow.
Hello there, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Career Day with Friends. Our guest today has worked her way up the ranks in immersive theater. She is currently with the Murder Mystery Company, which is the largest immersive theater company in the United States, and most notably appeared on the hit show Shark Tank. She directs the show Speak Easy, Die Softly, a murder mystery dining experience in the heart of New York City, located at Carmine's Times Square. Please welcome to the show, Micaela Donovan, also known as Micaela D.
Hi.
I'm messing up. There we go.
That's okay.
How are you today?
Good. I love it. That's showbiz, right?
Oh my God. And I'm like all over the map this morning. I'm like so scatterbrained, but I'm trying to get through. It's so good to see you.
Yes, it's so good to see you as well. It feels like it's been forever.
Oh my God. I was thinking about it. I think it's been like 15 or 16 years.
Yes.
I'm like, that is insane to me. But yeah, I don't know. Have you checked out the show before? It's okay if you haven't. It's like relatively
No,
new.
but I'm so excited. I honestly, like, this was my first morning free when we messaged. So this was like, so I'm very excited. And I honestly am like, this is going to be so fun to listen to, because I bet I'll recognize some other people on the show as well, just from knowing each other for a bit.
It's a cool podcast. I've had a lot of fun. So basically, I'm just going to ask you like a series of questions about your career. I'll also ask some personal questions, and we're just going to try to just keep it light and have some fun. I tried to do my best murder mystery outfit today, so that's why I'm dressed like this. My wife's like, "Why are you so fancy looking?" I'm like, "That's part of the show."
Well, as you can see, these are all my costumes. So I have costumes everywhere behind me.
That makes me more disappointed that you're wearing a sweatshirt and a baseball cap. But you know what? Like, oh, okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
Hat.
All right. Well, you ready to get started?
Yes.
So public interest in immersive entertainment has accelerated after the COVID-19 pandemic. So I looked up a quote from, this is the Dean of Filmmaking at the North Carolina School of Arts, Deborah Levine. She said, people are hungry for an experience they walk into. They want to be involved, not just entertained. Can you talk about where your journey in immersive theater began and what changes you've noticed over the years as the field has become more and more popular?
Yes. So my journey is so funny actually about it. I remember, so when I left my sales job because I really wanted to pursue film, theater, acting. Like, I just remembered that I loved when I was in plays. And I started doing a bunch of background work because I did not have money for classes. So I was like, this is a way that I can get paid training, because I can be on set, I can watch people, I can listen, I can learn terms that you need to know on set. And I remember I had put myself for this role that was like a background an hour away from where I lived. And I didn't end up hearing from anyone until 4 a.m. I got a phone call from casting, and they were like, can you be here at 5 a.m.? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. So then I rushed ready. Like, I looked like crazy, but I rushed, grabbed whatever I could. I ran to set, got there just on time. And then I had met this girl, and, you know, she's incredible. And so we were just hanging out, and, you know, because you hang out with the other background, and you have times where you're, you know, in holding is what it's called. That's where you're backstage, and you're just holding until they have you on set, and they might be like, you're going to go and walk that way. And you're like, yeah. So I remember we were all just talking, and she said this to me, and this is her words because it's actually not true. She's incredible. She goes, I do this thing, and I don't think I'm that great at it, but I feel like you would be great at it. And she is great at it. She says that she's not, but that's because she's humble.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right. And she goes, they're having auditions. You should go. I was terrified because it was more of an improv audition, and I had never done that before.
Right.
And I wanted to run away. I tried, like, I thought about just driving and not going to it a few times. Like, I was so terrified. And then I was like, nope, you know what? I am going to go. I'm going to go to this audition and give it my all, and, like, let them decide, let them decide and go from there. And so I did my audition. I got into the troupe. I loved it. I quickly became someone that my director at the time, she did a lot of training for me. And then she was building her own business, and little did I know she was preparing me to become director in 8 months. So I've been directing since about 2017, but with the Murder Mystery Company about 2016. And one of the things that I will say is when I started out, people did really still love immersive theater. I think there wasn't as much of a need the way that there's a need now, but people always loved it that came. There was more of like I think more of an unknown. And now I think there's people that are like flocking to it, which is a little bit different, because when I do my rehearsals with my actors, I also do a lot of connection exercises. So how to connect with people, which can be kind of uncomfortable even for actors.
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure.
and I say, because sometimes some of the people that come to our shows, we might be the only deep, like, human interaction that some people have, which is sad, but it is true. And so there are people that there's memories throughout my whole career of things people have shared with me that are so intimate that was life-changing for them on the show. And so that's something for me I don't take lightly, and then I tell my actors not to take lightly, because kind of like a little bit of how you're making difference and impact. It's like we make a difference and impact through murder for people.
Right.
which is very interesting, but it
Yes.
really does. So that's what I would say. I think and we see a lot more solo people coming out now, is what I would say. And I love that. We interact a lot with people when they come in by themselves, because we're like, oh, we'll be your bestie. And, sometimes we either make them a person, or even if they're not a suspect, we'll make them like my personal assistant or my best friend. I like to do best friends a lot. But then it's so fun, because it's like they're actually getting to experience it. But I think that's something that's a little different too. The solo person wanting to venture out and have those connections.
I've never thought about that before, because if you're like a person who's lonely, maybe you're like new to a city or new to an area, and you're like, I just need to get out. It's a place where you're going to get some attention, you're going to get some back and forth. And for you, that's like a serious responsibility. It's like, okay, I have to make this person's night memorable. One, I want them to come back, but two, like, I want them to just be in a good space as a human being.
Yes, and I will say there was one person, and she was with a group, but it was so funny. I connected with this one person recently, and she was like, have you ever thought of acting? You would be so good at it. And then, so sometimes, we'll break the fourth wall in a fun way. And I was like, listen, I really appreciate that. I mean, I might kind of be doing that right now. And she goes, oh my God. She was like, I'm so sorry. You're just so like connected. Like it was hilarious. And I was like, no, this is why you're my best friend. But it was just so funny. She's like, you really should consider acting. and I was performing in that moment. So it was really a touching moment.
This is kind of a good segue. So recently, pretty recently, you dropped everything and you moved to New York City for this new experience with murder mystery. Something that would certainly incite panic on my end. So how difficult was it to adjust to life in the Big Apple? And did you feel an added sense of pressure with directing kind of a bigger show in a very large city?
Yes. So
Okay.
yes. Everything you're saying. So a big thing that I truly believe is that if I am not uncomfortable or the smallest fish in the pond, then I am not doing myself justice. So I will put myself in the uncomfortable situations, so that way I can rise to the occasion. And I do know, I'm like, okay, Micaela, I know you can handle this. Like, you're who I would trust. I talk to myself like that. I do a lot
Yeah.
of mirror work, if you can't tell. But I'll be like, I know you're who I would trust. Like, you're who your friends would trust. Like, you can do this. And so that's kind of where I come from. But it was just, again, is all very serendipitous. So I had taken a pause to deal with some personal things, and there was a day, I just thought to myself, man, I miss directing, because I had directed at the Atlanta troupe and I was the artistic director for a while, and I was like, man, I really miss directing. And that was when I ended up hearing from Scott Cramton, who founded and runs the Murder Mystery Company, and he wrote the show in Times Square. And he was like, I really wish you were open to relocating, because we have the show, and like I would really like I really see this vision with you a part of it. And I was like, well, let's talk about it. And he goes, well, you kind of have to move next week. And I was like, all right.
Oh
So
my
it was, yeah, because he was like, if you're doing it, has to be now. And I was like, okay. And I thought about it, where I was like, okay, if I look back in 5 years and I didn't do this, I will be kicking myself, because who knows what could happen.
Mhm.
And then my partner Dan, I was talking to him because we were in Atlanta, and I'm like, "Are you on board for this?" Like, where so I packed up everything I could, and like got like as much of my stuff, like 2/3 of my stuff, because New York's a little smaller than Atlanta when you look at my budget. um so then I got my dog, Mouse, who's sleeping underneath me right now, and then one of my really good friends, Hattie, she's one of my best friends. I was like, will you come drive up with me? So she got in the car. She drove up with me. I did not know I had an apartment until I was on the George Washington Bridge driving to the
Oh
place
my
I had
God.
applied for. So that morning, I turned her and I was like, hey, we may not have a place to stay tonight, so me, you, and my dog might have to figure that out. And then Dan ended up packing up the rest of the stuff, because he was in some shows, and he had some filming still happening for the next month. So I felt like I did New York justice, because I lived off of like one box, because the majority of what I packed was my costumes and my dog's stuff. she had everything she needed. And then I lived off of like a mattress on the floor that could fold into a couch. So that was like the only furniture I had for a little over a month, and I felt very New York for that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like this is like, I feel like I understand what people here are doing.
I'm having like a panic attack just thinking about what you're talking about. But for lack of better words, you immersed yourself in the New York culture, and here you are. You like flourished, and you have more than just a
I
mattress
love
on the
it.
floor. And you had just talked about you had 65 shows a week, and I know how busy you are. So this question here, I think, is something that I thought about in particular with like
Mhm.
Broadway shows. Because I always wonder how the cast is able to kind of emulate their passion and enthusiasm across so many performances. You're sick, you're sometimes
yeah.
hungover, you're not feeling so great, but the enthusiasm seems to remain the same. So I know
Mhm.
how serious you take your leadership responsibilities. In
Yeah.
what ways are you able to kind of motivate your cast to prevent a show from just becoming stale and maintain a high level of morale?
Oh, yeah. So I would say there's definitely a few different things. One, it comes down to who our actors are as people. So we're very, very fortunate that we have actors that not only care about their craft, but people. That's, something that we are always looking for because, you can kind of train people in certain skills, but you can't train people to like people. Like that's just
Right.
something that is inherent. Honestly, I like our actors are wanting people to leave with moments. um I would say a big part of it is really pointing out and acknowledging them for the positives that they're doing. Like I think people deserve to hear like, hey, this is what you're doing really well. And as someone that acts too, like I love hearing that. We actors, we love compliments. I like to be like, feed me, like feed me compliments. um I think too, we do certain things sometimes depending on if it makes sense with the show, just to kind of add a little bit of laughter for each other. So I know there was like this big fur coat we had, and I don't want to give anything away, but there was like a reveal moment in the show, and one of the actors was like, I'm going to come out wearing that and surprise the whole cast. And so they like asked if it was okay. I was like, you know what, this is a chill audience, like this is something that I think they'll find funny. And so they came, and it was still time period appropriate, so that actor came out wearing that coat and said their lines, and the rest of the cast had to act like it was normal and not freak out, which was good. And then sometimes there's moments where like there's something happening where so we just stay in communication. So like if I have an actor say, oh my gosh, I'm having an emergency, or I'm having to deal with this or that, it's very much like, okay, you go be backstage for a little bit, I'll go handle the stuff that you're normally doing. Like that's just kind of how it will go. Like they've never missed any of their cues. It's usually like in the moment they have no cues, where they'll be like, can I just go sit down for a second? And you're like, yes. No, but I will say sometimes if you play a certain character, it can be therapeutic. So like
Okay.
we have mean characters. We're just never meaner. Like we're mean so the audience can be meaner to us.
Okay.
So there's times where we can have a character, like if I'm in like a grumpy mood, I might just be a little bit sassier. And then they're like, ooh, that's such good acting. Like it's just I like to say my partner and I, we've played characters that have to fight, and we were we were really angry at each other that day. So we like hit our lines real hard, and they were like, they're good. And then afterwards we were like, okay, I feel better, want to go to a movie, because we kind of got all our attention out. Yeah.
So Scott goes on Shark Tank. And prior to the Shark Tank episode, he kind of talked about how the show mostly consisted of traveling to private
Mm.
performances in home, or it sounded like corporate events, things like that, with part-time immersioneers. So how different has it been for you, um, having a home base at Carmine's, and with the company's partnership with Jason Blum, who's produced movies like Paranormal Activity, The Purge, Insidious, and so on? Are there more increased benefits for immersioneers, like full-time opportunities or healthcare or retirement, etc.? Like, can you talk about that a little bit?
So we're all still independent contractors, which
Okay.
honestly, I personally, that's my favorite because there's so many write-offs.
Yeah.
So I like,
There you go.
I do. That's just me as a person. But yeah, so we're all independent contractors, which is great because then it allows the actors to book other work as well if they would like to. And because that's sometimes what happens too. Like even this weekend, we had people that were scheduled and they were like, "Hey, I booked something," so then the other person in that role is going on. So it kind of allows for a little bit of that. I would say one of the things that is very, very different. So I still also direct our New York travel troupe. So that's where I have at 65 shows a week, because we were doing 6 shows at Carmine's, but then I had all the other, what is it, 59? Math. Yay, I mathed.
Yeah,
We're
there you go.
we're just traveling all around, New York, Pennsylvania, all of that. The benefits of having that home base is we can now have props that we couldn't have before, because when you're traveling, you want to make sure that you're traveling with different things that are not going to be cumbersome for people to take from place to place, and easy to set up and easy to take down. Because again, like we want to make sure that it's like the immersion when we go to people's houses is more like our costumes, our characters, the props that we're bringing. It's not so much like creating the venue space. But here, because we have a home base, we have custom songs. So we have about an hour and a half worth of songs that are custom and live music. We can't really have that at people's houses because we can't lug a piano around and like bring all that to them. We have a roulette table. So we have, a place for people to have some fun gambling. We have a lot of different like interactive kind of props that you would see at escape rooms and stuff like that people can interact and play with, because again, we're not having to carry them around to people's houses. But it's very different because when you're going into people's homes, sometimes you're going in where it's all friends, so everyone knows everyone, which is a super fun and totally different show experience as well, because it's like they automatically feel very free to be with their friends. And so then when you're here, this is more of a public show. So people buy tickets to it, and you have a mixture of people coming to the event that don't know each other. So we work as a team to help people open up faster, because imagine you're there with your date and you're joining a party of 6 and then a party of 3, and like you don't know any of them. And so we're there to try to be like, this is your team, you guys are going to be best friends. And by the end of the night, a lot of times they are. We had people that have met other people at a show that are now best friends with them. Like they said, yeah, these are like the godparents of my kids, and they were just sat next to each other at a murder mystery, and they were like, oh, we all like the same things.
Yeah, you have a couple of short films coming out, right? Or a short film coming out. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yes. So I just directed a short film, and we are putting that into film festivals. So I'm very, very excited about that. And then there was a short film that I had written and did a little starring in a few years ago that we finally are putting in the film festival circuit. So that's and the really cool thing about that. So I work very closely with one of my best friends, Karen Aguirre. And because of working with her, a lot of our films are actually bilingual, which is really, really amazing. So I've written before a script, and then she completely translated it into Spanish. And I was like, this is so cool to see something I wrote in one language done in a totally another language. And then we're currently working on another project that we're in the process of applying for funding for. So that's new for me. So that I'm always looking for new things to do. So I've been producing all my own stuff for years, and now I'm like, oh, this is a big project that really I want to see get produced in a budget I don't have. So now it's just a matter of seeing who gets excited about it as well, and then jumps on.
All right, so usually I end the show with some kind of like game or trivia, but today I kind of just want to hear more about Miss Caroline Talbot and her story. Is that how you pronounce her last name?
Yes.
Yes. I want to know how she started the trend of trolley tours and hear that story. And I also want to know how she was able to perform with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to tell her. I'll show this to her. Cause I think if you got to see my comments, she always says, I did all these cool things, and everyone just remembers me for my apple pie. Cause she's such a good apple pie. And she just turned 90. So she just turned 90, my grandmother. So I love her so much. So when she came here when she was 17 to Massachusetts, and she, same thing as me. She just moved one afternoon with like less than $5. I feel like I'm literally her is a different version. She is my role model. And she had met my grandfather. They fell in love. They started Newcomb Farms restaurant. It was Mug a Muffin at the time. There's a whole documentary on it. So I'll try to do my best, but I could be fact checked and not 100% right in the timeline of what the documentary is. So from what she shared with me, I think they had like 34 or 36 restaurants all across the South Shore. Now for a few years, there was just 2 of them. So my whole childhood growing up, I've only been aware of 2. And then after the pandemic, now there's just the one in Milton. And so they had about 34 to 36, and they would go to Marco Island. They were like, they would go there for vacations, and they fell in love with the trolleys is how it was told to me. So they fell in love with the trolleys, and they were like, we should bring the trolleys up. And they started doing trolley tours in Plymouth. And that was like another business that they had started. And they literally like, they had my mom and her, like she was one of 6, like they were able to do it. They had their kids helping, like they were huge members of the community. So my mom, I think, was giving these trolley tours. And she used to say, like, she'd be at the restaurant at 7, and she'd like be like, I'm gonna go get ice cream. And they'd be like, you have to stay at the restaurant. You can't go get ice cream. So it was just things like that. So it was really just like they got really excited, and now there's like trolleys all over. I don't even know if what they started is still happening there, but it was just something they did in Plymouth. The other thing, so with the Bob Hope show, she had done a competition. So I guess Bob Hope and Bing Crosby did a competition, and it was anyone from a town called Hope, or there was one town in the U.S. with Crosby, and they had a talent contest, and whoever won those talent contests, so she was in Hope, Maine at the time, and so she had won the singing portion of her contest. So she got flown out to LA. There's a ton of people at the time that she got to meet, and she said they were lovely, and they did her hair and makeup, and so she would tell me this, and I have a friend, Amanda, and she is so good with history. And I was telling the story, and I didn't know she was good with history. She was like, I can find this episode for you. And so she looked up, she went to the library, and she got with the librarians, and they did tons of research, and they found the episode. And then the librarians, they contacted Bob Hope Studios to ask if we could purchase the episode, because it's, it was not like available. And so we were able to, we just can't show it or anything like that, which is fair. And we were able to gift it to her for Christmas this year. So she cried, and she loved it. And I remember my mom was like, she didn't make this up. Like, I think her whole life, my mom thought that her mom was like just saying this. And then I was like, why would she? This is such a random thing for her to make up. So it was really cool. She just got to keep watching it, and she got to find. She never saw the episode, and mostly it was a radio show, but they did have video footage of it as well.
That is so cool. And I was just about to ask you, I'm like, can I get the episode so I can put it into a clip? But it sounds like no.
We signed the contract.
Maybe pictures possibly.
I will see. Yeah, I will find. Yeah, because it was so cool to have that and watch her watch. And she's like, that's me. Because I think she was in her 20s, or I'm not really positive. So yeah.
Listen, that's all I got for you today, but thank you so much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun, and these stories are incredible. And if you come across any cool pictures or things like that, for you, there's plenty. Like, I can go on Facebook and find 2 million pictures that I could use. But if you got any one of your Grammy there on the Bob Hope show, please share.
Oh my God, yes. I will find out if I can get that and send it to you, because I think she would love that.
That's awesome. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a good rest of your day.
Who's gonna keep Chicago hot? Combustible Roxy. You've never seen a bigger show. And when she does that hoochie coo, she'll tear the balcony in two. Go
If you enjoyed this episode, tune in every Thursday on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts at Career Day Friends Pod. Video recordings are available on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, like and follow our socials on Instagram and Facebook at, you guessed it, Career Day Friends Pod. If you're interested in sharing cool stories from your own career and want to come on the show, please reach out to us via email at careerdayfriendspod@gmail.com. Share these great stories with your friends and family. These people really deserve it. And thank you so much for listening.